Hey everybody, ezymode here, and I'm coming at you with a video regarding Last Epoch, a beta ARPG that's currently out on Steam. And we're playing, what you see on the screen right now is a Paladin Warpath Ignite build that I've been playing on this game. I've only had this game for about a week, but I feel comfortable enough to post this video regarding this build because it's a little bit different than what I've been seeing online, and I've been having a tremendous amount of fun with it. I've gone consistently to between level 80 to 100 arenas, and that may not be high so far, but just starting out fresh from the game, I feel like that's pretty good, seeing how in the top 100s, the ladder goes up to I think like 110 or something like that, and they're all a bunch of high level characters there. On this video, I'm going to be discussing the skill paths I've chosen, the abilities, as well as the passives I've chosen, and then at the end of it, we're going to be talking about items and what makes this build work. Pretty much what the whole concept of the build is, I'm trying to stack as many ignites as possible on the enemy. In Last Epoch, anytime you stack an ignite, if you have 100%, you're able to stack one ignite. If you have 200%, you're able to stack 2 ignites off of that one hit. So we're trying to stack as much ignites as possible, as well as increasing our fire damage by applying those ignites, and trying to get as many dots on these enemies as possible to finally ramp up some damage and kill some mobs. So let's go into the skill tree that we have here with Specializations. Now, the main focus you're going to want to work on here is Warpath. Warpath allows you to put those ignites on the enemies. So right off the bat, this is a very common way to go about doing it. Go through Unchained, through Whirlwind Barrier, as well as Warforge. However, I took a different approach here, and instead of using a sword and shield, for instance, I went a build that didn't require to have a shield. So I went over here on the left-hand side to Reckless Combat, and it allows me to do extra things with no shield equipped. And this allowed me to get to Dark Nexus, which allowed me to lower the cooldown, not lower the cooldown, excuse me, remove the mana cost of Warpath. Removing the mana cost of Warpath allows me to spin Warpath for free. It costs 1 mana, but indefinitely I can spin forever with this without spending any more mana on this exact move. This is great to have because ultimately you're not gonna have a lot of mana being a Sentinel, the Paladin subclass for all your abilities. So you're going to try to get as many things as you can for the cheap and mana, and making Warpath free to allow you to do ignites goes ahead and does that. The next one you're going to want to work on here is Holy Aura. As the building entitles, we're going to be focusing on ignites here and fire damage. Now this is where a lot of people can differentiate between the moves here. I took Elemental Penetration here. It doesn't feel like it's really working that well. I don't know if penetration works well in this game. When you activate Holy Aura, these effects double. So instead of 12%, I get 24%. Instead of 40%, I get 80% here. With Elemental Penetration, I get plus 600 penetration. And quite frankly, I don't feel that penetration when it comes to the bigger bosses or the bigger mobs that are a little bit more tougher. So thinking back to this build, I may take some points out of this, if not all of it, and put it into Critical Strike. I'll go more into Critical Strike. The reason why I want to put into Critical Strike later on in this video because of the way I built my character. And I probably may want to take away some protections here to possibly boost up Flame Burst here to make it do more damage because I believe it scales off of fire damage, which I am doing a tremendous amount of. The last main component you're going to want to work with the skill is called Lunge. Lunge allows you to move from enemy to enemy, and it also grants a great amount of damage and critical chance by just initiating on the enemy. So when you use Lunge here, initiative, it allows you to get 4 seconds to increase damage and critical strike. You get the critical strike chance up here for 200 more %, and this will build back into the item choices I built on this character to really start getting me more fire damage and more ignites along the way. The last 2 skills you see here can be interchangeable. In the video you saw earlier, I was using Sigil's Hope. Pretty much what you do is you want to stack as many sigils as possible, so you're going to want to get as many ignite chances per active sigil. You're going to want to increase the duration for it, and I was having the mana efficiency node here to continually cast it, but I noticed that later on in the arena it became harder and harder to keep this up, and I was having mana issues. So it's probably best to maybe have this as last wish, which is a chance to summon a sigil on kill, and if you don't have it, you don't have it, but pretty much you're always killing stuff in the arena, so it shouldn't be that bad, and just maxing out the duration is getting an extra sigil as well. The nodes I would probably take is Empower Sigil, Degree of Flame, the Last Wish, Burning Signs, get some Iron Sigils, Enduring Hope, and Tetragram here, and maybe possibly from extra points here, I'd probably put it in Invigoration here to give me some healing per active sigil on it. Another item or another skill I'm using currently is Ring of Shields. Ring of Shields is actually pretty nice so far that I've been using it because it gives you some protection while you have it up. I'm building a little bit more defensively, but I'm probably going to take a point out of this mana cost here with Tempered Steel and move it over to Immolation. I'm using Ring of Steel primarily for this node here, the Molten Shields. It allows me to ignite more enemies with a 50% chance from the shield themselves, so I want them up as much as possible. I'm getting a damage reflection node here, and I'm probably going to go here for Immolation to get that fire damage over time to continually build off of my fire damage that I'm building on my character. Last but not least, I was playing around with Rebuke here. This allows me to get my mana back. It's not part of the build per se, but I was seeing if it was worth using this move. I haven't tested it fully out yet, but in the video I was using Juggernaut Stance here, and Juggernaut Stance isn't too bad. It allows you to kind of be like a semi Forge Guard with this 15% less damage taken, but you don't run fast and you also don't attack as fast. So I don't know if it's worth having this move yet. So there's still a bunch of question marks when it comes to the last moves. And as you'll notice, Juggernaut Stance, Infernal Stance, Manifest Weapon, and I believe there's one more, Healing Ward, don't have paths on them yet because this is still a beta. So possibly it may be worth looking into these stances when they do have a pathing, and it could possibly extend this build to something probably totally different. Alright, so now let's look at my passives here when it comes to being a Paladin. So you'll see here with the Sentinel passive tree, I took a little bit different approach than many other folks have. They introduce new passives on top of this tree. Typically you'll see people get 20 points here just so they can achieve their masteries here, and then they start putting points to mastery. However, I really like this Blade Master tree here, so I decided to go for it and get the 30% extra attack speed because it's very hard for, I guess, a Paladin, or yeah, the Paladin tree itself doesn't really have many attack speed notes, so I went ahead and got this node here. To get there, I pretty much got Juggernaut, Fearless to give me some protection as well as some stats. I went Relentless as well as Iron Mastery, and that got me enough points to get here to Blade Master. Underneath the Paladin tree, I pretty much went everything that was dealing with fire with the exception of Rahi's Strength. Rahi's Strength I'm going to be putting into that when I believe I finish off these guys, or Reverence of Duality. But you'll see here I went Conviction, I went Magist Firebrand, Divine Bolt was a free 1 point to cast a Fire Blast with Holy Energy, which was, sure, it's 1 point, why not? Valor as well as Defiance, went through Faith Armor, Reverence of Duality, as well as Laiha Rahi. I'm probably going to finish off this tree by finishing off these 3 nodes here, maxing them out, and then possibly going into Rahi's Strength. I don't know so much. I'm going to be finishing off Reverence of Duality. It doesn't seem to give me as many points as I would have wanted it to, so I may remove some of that to go into Rahi's Strength, because I do want to spend some points into Void Knight when it comes to a specific talent tree in there, and that tree or that specific talent is Devouring Blade. This Devouring Blade allows me to increase my damage every time I kill something, and you're constantly killing stuff in the arena, so it seems like a no-brainer to be able to get more damage on top of your damage for your ignites. Last but not least, the Forge Guardian. I just put 5 points into it to get Ring of Shields. This may or may not stay in my build depending on how well Ring of Shields performs for me. But for this particular tree, I just went for Prime Fighter to get the stats. Increasing my armor seemed okay. It didn't seem like it was helpful, and I'd rather get on the strength. Going up here to Smelter's Might would have been too cumbersome for my build. I would have to spend about 25 points just to get there, and then spend 10 more points to level it up. So That would take away some of my protections here in Paladin, and I didn't want to sacrifice that. If I would have to take away the 10 points here to possibly get it, then that'd be different, but I believe Blade Master is well worth it compared to this Ignite chance here. And that would be the passives a part of my tree. So now let's talk about my itemization. So over here on the right hand side, these are the items I'm currently working with. I'm using 3 uniques as well as 1 set piece. The uniques I'm running is Eye of Ren. Going back to the crit chance possibility that I was mentioning earlier, that's one of the main reasons why I want to get crit chance, is because of this particular unique. It gives me almost about 200% chance to ignite on melee hit, and also every time I hit that crit them, I get a stack of Rin's Ire, which gives me a 5% increased fire damage over time, which is extremely well, and it scales well with my fire damage. On top of that, because I do not want to use a shield, I decided to use the Igvor's Head, which again increases fire damage, also gives me chances to ignite. So right off the bat, just looking at, oh, actually I should probably take away my webcam here because it's blocking the overlay. So let's do that here, as well as wait for my little Discord thing to pop away. So if we look over here on my stat page, you're gonna notice within my other stats, I have a base 76 chance to ignite with just some totems sitting around here, as well as some ignite chance in my gear, just sitting around. And because of that, when I whirlwind, I now have 207 because of the fact that I'm just wearing this head. This isn't even including the Ire Rens proc, which is showing the type of proc to be able to ignite. And it's also not including, I believe, the holy buff. I think it might be including the holy aura. Let me see. It is including the holy aura. So it's not including my Warpath chance to ignite, and also is not including the chance to ignite from the Ring of Shields, or also your sigils, because I don't have them on right yet. So overall, you can get to about 500% when it comes to igniting, and that's pretty crazy. So you can pretty much do 5 ignites a hit. The last unique I'm wearing is Lilith's Signet here. This allows me to get glancing blows while channeling. I'm constantly whirlwinding, and a lot of folks like to max out their glancing blows to 100%, so you have a chance to always take half damage when getting hit by an enemy. This allows me to do that off of 1 item, and it allows me to then scale my items for more damage or more type of defenses on them. Last unique I have here is Sunforged Beard Helmet. It's a pretty good unique to be able to convert these two, Poison and Necrotic, to fire and armor, so I don't take as much damage. And then the rest of my gear is all focused on actual offensive stats for my prefixes, and the suffixes are focused on my protection. I may need to change these a little bit. Maybe instead of increasing armor on some pieces, I'll put it to these pieces have elemental, like right here, elemental protections per equipped item, so I can keep increasing these to higher levels, because my armor gets extremely high when I whirlwind, which allows me to take physical hits. The last section here will be my idols. The idols, again, are going for chance on ignite. They're also looking for critical strike chance as well as damage leech. I don't have a way to leech on my build. I have to rely on idols for that. If there was an idol that's a little bit bigger that has a bigger amount of leech, I probably would use that instead of these 2 small ones. When I was using the Sigil of Hope build, I also was using this particular idol, which like, it gives me more seconds on my Sigils of Hope. Again, I would have to shuffle things around to be able to fit this, but that's sort of where I'm at with these items here. Again, it's not optimized. I just got this character to 80. There's a lot more itemization I could go through, but it's pretty crazy that with my stats here, I have almost 362 damage, fire damage, which can go higher if I just press Q. See, 432 because of my holy aura. I got some damage over time nodes, and my crit chance is sitting happily at 14%. Now this is just idle 14%, and you'll notice when I spin it gets to 15% because I believe it's applying the crit chance from my whirling blade, my warpath. But if I keep my thing open here and I actually lunge, you'll see it jumps up to 26%, and that's because lunge is giving me that crit chance. So this goes back to me needing crit chance on my auras as well as crit chance on my items, because if I can get that to about a 30% chance, possibly even like a 33 or 34%, then you're looking at every 1 in 3 hits that I will be applying Ren's Ire on the enemy, which increases fire damage over time, which then is going to increase my ignite damage, and overall it's going to make this character stronger. Pretty much that's the end of my video here. If you like what you saw, you can always subscribe and hit the like button down below. You can always leave a comment how we can build this guy better. I typically stream on the weekdays when it comes to video games. I usually stream Monday through Friday. I don't have a set schedule for Monday through Friday. I kind of stream when I'm available. On weekends, I usually stream 8 hours. We're looking at like the afternoon to like the evening, but I'll be streaming any type of ARPGs, and currently right now, Last Epoch has caught my attention and I'm really enjoying this game so far. Anyhow, thanks for watching guys, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye.